Hi guys, this is Michael from Nomadic Insights. So my first two videos on Humbl Pay produced, let's just say, mixed results. So this is going to be the third video on Humbl Inc. And I'm kind of hoping the third time is the charm. I filmed the other two videos back to back, and I understand, there were concerns about the research quality in those two videos. So hopefully we're going to fix that, in our third attempt at chronicling and examining Humbl Pay. So this video is going to follow kind of a three-part process where one, we're going to look at the actual margin of safety that Humbl offers to investors, based on its technology, brand entity, management, things like that. So just to answer the question, does the stock have an economic moat? Part number two is we're going to be taking a look at management. And yes, I'm aware it is George Sharp, not Greg Sharp. Had a mistake in my other video. Sorry about that. And then number three, we're going to be looking at the question, is Humbl a good technology company? I do have my friend Leo, the stinky Spanish water dog, who may be joining us. He sporadically makes appearances because he likes to jump up and say hello to all of our friends on YouTube. So on to question one. Does Humbl Pay have an economic moat? Personally, after looking at Block 30 and the technology that Humbl has, eventually the company will have an economic moat based on its payment ecosystem having users in its app and decentralized platform. So it is currently trying to partner with Digibyte to deploy on Digibyte's framework. So Digibyte has a fairly fast blockchain technology. I'm not getting into the specifics, not an expert on blockchain itself, but it does seem to have fairly robust capabilities compared to the earlier blockchain on Bitcoin. So that platform does seem to provide a degree of an economic moat. Now, personally, I'm still of the opinion that because there's not a product 100% out with a large user base, I don't think Humbl has an economic moat right now. It is a startup. For that reason, I'm saying Humbl does not currently have an economic moat, and from a value investment perspective, it's a speculative play. Now, you can still invest in it under the assumption that over the next 2 to 3 years, might have an economic moat. But for right now, I think it's fair to say Humbl does not have an economic moat. They have a lot in any of its product areas, and they have a lot of things that they're hoping stick, but there's not a core economic moat like Google search. And this is one of the reasons why, if we look at the question, is Humbl a good SaaS company? When we're looking at, SaaS companies, they have an economic moat, kind of like Adobe with Adobe Creative Cloud and things like that. So I think that's fair to say that, compared to peers and competitors, it doesn't seem like Humbl Pay has a wide economic moat. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but based on the research that I see, and I'm not trying to do deep dive due diligence here with special insights. I'm just trying to say, just with a quick look around, can I see an economic moat? Does the economic moat make sense? Because, if it's this really esoteric economic moat, I don't think that normal people are going to buy the stock. I think it's just going to continue to be a long shot play. So, it in order for this to be a mainline investment, it needs to not be esoteric. There needs to not be, block 30. And I got a lot of criticism for that. But I feel like, a Google search should suffice. I do think that's a reasonable metric to, a quick Google search should tell you what you need to know about the company. Um, I know that's probably not the best test, but, if I'm trying to establish the fact a company has an economic moat, if I can't find the company's economic moat in a Google search, that's probably an issue. From a valuation perspective. Again, I do own shares in Humbl. I do want the company to do well, but right now there's not an economic moat. So if I'm going to be buying more shares, selling my shares, the company needs time to dig a moat. And I think that's fair to make this kind of a longer term play. But again, I still think it's speculative because we don't know if they're going to be able to successfully dig the moat. Fair? Number two, so within the management team, so George Sharp, based on my kind of quick look, I called him Greg by mistake earlier. He does have a long history, kind of trying to combat, penny stock fraud. Leo, the Spanish water dog, is very sad right now. So that kind of lends itself to the idea that, this isn't a pump and dump stocks, so it looks like it's legitimate. Now, there could be legitimate criticisms of management's ability to pull this off, but Brian's a former all Ivy athlete from the University of Pennsylvania. Then he's got UCLA. This is the Spanish water dog. But I've had friends who played, soccer at Ivy League universities, and I'm always skeptical of soccer players. Personal thing, just because I like soccer. Nothing against Brian, but just when we're looking at Epson as a company, I would be looking for more of a background, TransferWise, fintech, and a lot of the innovative fintechs really are in London more so than in, kind of the, in the Valley area right now for transfer payments. Um, I may be incorrect on that, but just based on my memory, I'm really new back to investing. I just started investing again a couple weeks ago, so please bear with me for the rookie mistakes as I work to kind of not be a noob, totally a noob right now. So again, I think that the biggest gap that I see, from a managerial perspective is, this is a software platform, so I really don't understand, who is kind of the architect. So, I kind of see Brian Foote as kind of like this thinker, doer person, maybe more of like the Steve Jobs of Humble. But, whereas the Steve Wozniak and, kind of where is the number two. So you kind of get these very technical people, like Mark Zuckerberg was a really good programmer and he's kind of like a very technical person, and the execution person is Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook. So I just don't see that, really a capable, software architect. So the platform development team, there's a lot of developers, but I don't see big wig, big league like system architecture talent. That's really going to be able to build, global payments infrastructure currently. I see startup guys, but there's a very big difference between a startup and a company that has to scale, millions of payments. So like I prefer to see somebody from Stripe or Plaid or one of these other companies that does validation, and I or TransferWise, um, or PayPal, and we just don't really see that right now, in the space. So again, I'm not down on Humble, but it's just like if I'm looking for that home run, I'll believe more in you know Humble when they have a like kind of a heavy hitter or like a home run hitter, from a software architecture perspective, and really a developer. Now, I've been looking. I don't see a heavy hitter based on what I'm looking for. So that's just one of the things where you're like, if you're looking at people's Gits and their contribution to open source coding, and just kind of the blockchain technology itself, again, this mostly seems to be kind of the business majors more so than like information technology people and programmers. And, I just prefer companies that are built by engineers. It's just a personal bias of mine, just because engineering a product is very different than, kind of majoring in finance or geospatial information systems, just building software as its own craft. And I just don't really see a company of software developers. But that's the product. And I think that I think that's a reasonable concern. Now, that's my opinion from Googling around, if that's incorrect, and, Brian has a really strong history in software development, building web-based applications, my fault. But, just with Takeri, I see small scale applications of like a 4-person company, and that's not large scale software development. Um, that is, just in terms of like finance and stuff. And the reason why a lot of these companies can't pivot is because of legacy systems and compliance. I got knocked for, working as an intern at an insurance company, but, the reason that, Bank of America is not doing this is not because it doesn't want to, it's because of the infrastructure. So there's a certain insight there of seeing software development, which I think is valuable, but again, I'm still a Salesforce admin, so but that's just an experience. And I think it's valuable to leverage past experiences. And yeah, I've worked on Fortran systems, so why wouldn't I talk about that? But most people do enterprise internships, and it's very different in the enterprise versus in a 20-person to 50-person company where I currently work. So that's why I reference those experiences. So last kind of point here, is Humble a good technology company or a good fintech company? I think in general, I don't think so. I think that Humble is a very good, you know, blockchain startup. And I think that it does have some real potential to go into the mainstream if it works. But there's a lot of, it might explode. So as somebody who owns shares, I've got my little 50 shares, and this is going to be like a 5-year position for me. I'm not selling. So I'm either going to go broke here and I'm going to lose the 150 bucks, or it's just we're going to wait and see. But I think that I think it has created value for people. I know people have made $25,000 off Humble, so I'm not knocking the stock's ability to generate returns. What I am skeptical of is its ability to generate sustained returns, and I do believe that's fair. So thanks so much for taking the time to watch Nomadic Insights. I hope that this was not as sassy of a video today, and that I don't come across like a condescending prick. I really try not to be a dick. Sometimes it's hard because I have the annoying guy face. I got an annoying voice, let's be honest. But again, thanks so much for watching, guys, and hope you learned something. I hopefully the content scripting was better. Again, I'm working on it, but noob. I'm a noob. I'm a noob. Please pardon me for being a noob. Please don't shoot. Thank you, and have a great one, guys. Bye.